Cheese Hattori is a slay beggy, that is, someone who absorbs huge amounts of magic from their surroundings, but can't fully process it and ends up damaging their body in the process. This not only shortens her potential lifespan and makes her ill, it also makes her a target. Slay beggies are highly sought after by mages who want to use their powers for their own ends, and they often lose their lives trying to escape. Also, slay beggies attract fae and other magical creatures. For Cheese, this means constantly seeing them and having to deal with the problems they cause. For slay beggies who can't see them, it means being constantly assaulted and having no idea why. Cheese has other powers that have significant downsides, but her slay beggy heritage is where it all started. Here's a throwback for you. In the 2003 anime, D.N. Angel, a 14-year-old boy named Daisuke Niwa has to deal with an inconvenient curse. Whenever he experiences any form of love or intimacy, he unwittingly transforms into Dark Mousy, a powerful and cunning art thief who uses Daisuke's body to perform heists. Also, whether Daisuke likes it or not, Dark Mousy has access to all of his thoughts and feelings. That's a lot for a teenager who just wants an ordinary life to have to deal with. But on the bright side, Daisuke and Dark Mousy do end up forming a meaningful bond over the course of the series. Puella Magi Madoka Magica offers a very dark take on the whole magical girl thing. An adorable but sinister alien named QB offers human girls the opportunity to have any wish granted in exchange for becoming magical girls and fighting witches. But the wishes rarely turn out the way the girl wants them to. Sometimes they even straight up destroy her life. That's not the only problem. Being a magical girl turns out to be a far more terrifying gig than anyone could have anticipated. Like in other magical girl anime, there's the risk of harm when fighting enemies. Unlike in other magical girl anime, the process rips the girls' souls out of their bodies and stores them in a soul gem. These gems can become corrupted, and when that happens the girls are transformed into the very witches that they fight. QB chooses not to reveal this particular fact when trying to pitch the wish offer. Titan shifters have a range of incredible abilities. These vary depending on which Titan the person is using. The Warhammer Titan can materialize weapons from its flesh, while the Attack Titan can receive memories from the future. Every single one is powerful, and for the warriors of Marley, inheriting one means civil rights for the user and their family. The fact that you have to eat another person in order to become a Titan shifter is already a pretty big drawback, but there's more. Titan shifters can only live for 13 years after imbibing the Titan. Since most people become Titan shifters while they're still children, this means that their lives will be tragically short. That said, their lives could end up being a heck of a lot shorter without becoming a Titan shifter. In the world of Attack on Titan, everyone's lives are constantly at risk, and Titan shifting is an effective defense. Haruka Kotora is an otherwise ordinary high school girl who can read other people's minds. Sounds cool, right? Well, not really. She can't turn off her ability, which means that she's constantly overwhelmed by other people's thoughts about pretty much everything. Sometimes, this involves having to listen to perverted nonsense from her classmate and her grandfather, but sometimes it involves hearing searing insults about herself or genuinely disturbing thoughts from would-be murderers. Also, her powers have caused some pretty traumatic childhood experiences. As a little girl, she didn't know how to tell the difference between thoughts and speech, so she casually mentioned the thoughts she heard. This led to her classmates, teachers, and even her parents writing her off as a freak. Her parents even ended up getting divorced and blaming her for it when she inadvertently revealed that they were cheating on each other. No wonder she was so relieved the one time her powers temporarily disappeared because she had a fever. After being isekai'd to another world, Natsuki Subaru discovers that he has one supernatural ability. If he loses his life, he returns to a save point and quote sometime in the past. In some ways, this is amazing. Not only is he functionally immortal, he can also reverse time to undo mistakes or protect others from harm. But there's also a big problem. Every time he uses this power, he has to endure the suffering that comes with death. Often, this is excruciatingly painful or frightening. He has to process the accumulated trauma of countless incidents. Naturally, it starts to impact his mental health. After a serious talking to from Amelia, he decides to stop relying on this ability and start prioritizing his own safety and well-being. That doesn't mean he'll never use it, but it does mean he won't intentionally activate it in order to solve a problem. Aluka, the only daughter of the Zoldyck clan, has an ability so fearsome that her family keeps her locked up to control it. Aluka doesn't use Nen herself. Instead, she serves as the conduit for a creature named Nanika. Nanika initiates her ability by making a request. When a person fulfills 3 of her requests, she can grant them a wish. If the wish is small and easily granted, Nanika's next set of requests will be easily achieved. But if the person wishes for something complex, impactful, or impossible, the next set of requests might involve something like, "Give me your liver." Should the target of a set of requests be unable to fulfill any of them, they will pass away, and so will the person closest to them. If the previous wish was significant enough, the carnage extends to their entire network, wiping out their entire family and all of their friends. Left unchecked, this power could even end humankind. Not only does Aluka risk doing a ton of damage that she doesn't want to do, her powers also mean that her family treats her poorly. Her brother Illuma even tries to assassinate her at one point. While it's not like the Zoldykes would treat her well anyway, she's still in a pretty bad spot. One of Lelouch's greatest weapons in his fight for Japanese independence is his gyos. Gyoses are supernatural implants that can manifest differently depending on the user. Lelouch can use his to force any person to obey a single command. But once he issues the command, even if he does it unintentionally, there's no taking it back. This results in one of the worst moments in the entire series. When he explains his ability to his half-sister Euphemia, he uses an example. He says that, if he were to tell her to open fire on the Japanese people waiting for her to make an announcement about the autonomous zone she fought for them to have, she would have to do it, no matter how much it went against her values. The gyos interprets this as a command, causing Euphemia to go on a blood-soaked rampage that ends in multiple fatalities and her own demise. Because Lelouch can only issue one command per person, there's nothing he can do to stop her no matter how much he might want to.
Evie's quirk. Rewind. has enormous potential. She can rewind any living being to a previous state. This can eliminate injuries and illnesses, and even counteract aging. Despite its potential to be used for good, it can also do serious damage. When Yuri was a toddler, she couldn't fully control her quirk. She ended up accidentally activating it on her father, reversing his age to before the time he was born, essentially writing him out of existence. After that, her mother rejected her completely and left her in the care of her Yakuza grandfather. Her grandfather's protege, Kai Chisaki, took a major interest in her powers because he believed they could be used to eliminate quirks from the human gene pool. To that end, he performs multiple painful experiments on her, which ultimately requires a full-scale rescue from a group of pro-heroes. Hopefully, she'll be happier now that she's been essentially adopted by Aizawa and he's helping her to control her quirk. Inumaki inherited his clan's signature ability, Cursed Speech. By infusing his words with cursed energy, he can literally speak events into existence. For example, if he says a word explode, then something will explode. This can happen even if he doesn't intend it to, which can lead to serious accidents. That's why he decided to start using rice ball ingredients in place of words. While some people do understand him, his communication abilities are so dramatically inhibited. That's bound to cause some major social and psychological problems.